Captain Jake Morrison floated near the viewing window of Earth Station Alpha, watching the strange ship approach. The vessel looked like a giant silver flower with metal petals that moved slowly in space. He had never seen anything like it before. "Captain, they're sending a message," said Lieutenant Emma Walsh from her seat at the communications desk. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "It's in perfect English somehow." Jake pushed himself toward Emma's station. After 3 years commanding the space station, he still loved the way moving felt in zero gravity. "What do they want?" "They say they come from something called the Galactic Federation. They want to establish diplomatic relations with Earth." Emma looked up at Jake with wide eyes. "Sir, I think we just made first contact with aliens." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was the moment humans had wondered about for centuries. "Tell them they can dock at Bay 7, and Emma, record everything." 2 hours later, Jake stood in the docking bay wearing his best uniform. Dr. Alex Carter stood beside him, holding a tablet with Earth's basic information. Alex was the station's science officer and the smartest person Jake knew. The alien ship's door opened with a soft hiss. 3 creatures walked out, and Jake tried not to stare. They looked like giant insects with 4 arms each. Their skin was light blue and shiny. The one in front wore what looked like a uniform with many small badges. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the lead alien said. Its voice came from a small device on its chest. "I am Commander Zixthera of the Zenithian Diplomatic Corps. We represent the Galactic Federation of Intelligent Species." Jake stepped forward and smiled. "Welcome to Earth Station Alpha. I'm Captain Jake Morrison. This is Dr. Alex Carter, our science officer." Commander Zixthera's large eyes looked at Jake carefully. "We have studied your world from far away. Your planet appears to support life, though our scans show some unusual readings. We hope to learn more about your species and your home." "We're happy to help," Alex said. "Would you like to see our station? We can show you how humans live and work in space." "That would be acceptable," Zixthera replied. As they walked through the station's corridors, Jake pointed out different areas. "This is where our crew sleeps. That's the exercise room where we work out to stay healthy in zero gravity." One of the other aliens made a strange clicking sound. Zixthera spoke quickly to it in their own language, then turned back to Jake. "My medical officer asks about your exercise. What do you mean by working out?" "Oh, we have to exercise every day or our muscles get weak," Jake explained. "We lift heavy weights, run on machines, do push-ups. Some of our crew really enjoy it. Emma over there does boxing for fun." The 3 aliens stopped walking. They spoke rapidly to each other in their clicking language. Jake noticed their skin had changed from light blue to a darker color. "Boxing?" Zixthera asked slowly. "You mean combat training?" "Well, sort of," Jake laughed. "But it's just for exercise and fun. Emma hits a heavy bag and practices moves. She says it helps her relax after work." Dr. Carter nodded. "Many humans enjoy physical challenges. Some people climb mountains, others swim in the ocean. Some jump out of airplanes with parachutes for excitement." The alien medical officer made a loud chirping sound and pulled out a small device. It pointed the device at Jake and Alex, and the device began beeping rapidly. "Is everything okay?" Alex asked. Zixthera's 4 hands moved nervously. "Our medical scanner shows your bone density and muscle composition are far above galactic average. Are all humans this physically developed?" "I guess so," Jake shrugged. "We're probably pretty normal for humans. Alex here isn't even a soldier or athlete. He spends most of his time reading and doing research. I do enjoy hiking, though," Alex added cheerfully. "Last time I was on Earth, I climbed Mount Washington in New Hampshire. Beautiful views, but the weather can be dangerous up there." The aliens spoke quickly among themselves again. Jake heard fear in their clicking sounds. "You climb mountains in dangerous weather for pleasure?" Zixthera asked. "Sure, lots of people do," Jake said. "Some folks climb much bigger mountains than that. Mount Everest, for example. That one's really challenging. People sometimes die trying to reach the top, but climbers keep going anyway." The alien medical officer's device was beeping so fast now it sounded like a fire alarm. All 3 aliens had turned a dark purple color. Perhaps we should sit down and talk more calmly, Dr. Carter suggested. Would you like some refreshments? Coffee, water, juice? Coffee would be safe for you to consume, Sixthera asked carefully. Of course, Jake smiled. Emma makes the best coffee on the station. She drinks about 6 cups a day. Emma appeared with a tray of steaming mugs. Here you go, Captain. I made it extra strong today. She handed Jake a mug and offered one to Dr. Carter. The alien medical officer pointed its scanner at the coffee. The device immediately started making a loud alarm sound. The alien dropped the scanner and backed away quickly. What is wrong? Alex asked, concerned. Zixithera spoke rapidly into a communication device on its wrist. Then it turned to the humans. Our scanner identifies your beverage as containing high levels of a Class 7 stimulant compound. This substance would be lethal to most galactic species. Jake looked at the coffee mug in his hand. Really? It's just coffee. We drink it every day. Some people drink much stronger coffee than this. Emma drinks 6 servings of this poison daily and remains functional? One of the other aliens asked in a shaking voice. Poison? Emma laughed, walking over with her own mug. It's not poison. It just helps me stay alert during long shifts. My grandmother drinks twice as much as I do, and she's 93 years old. The 3 aliens moved closer together, their skin now almost black with what Jake was beginning to realize was fear. Captain Morrison, Zixithera said formally, we must request permission to return to our ship immediately. We need to report our findings to the Galactic Federation. Of course, Jake said, confused. But did we do something wrong? We want to be friends with the Galactic Federation. You have done nothing wrong, Sixthera replied quickly. But we must reassess our first contact protocols. Your species appears to be far more dangerous than our initial scans indicated. As the aliens hurried back toward their ship, Jake heard one of them say to Zixithera in English, they consume Class 7, stimulants for pleasure and climb deadly terrain for entertainment. How did such a warrior species develop space travel? Jake and Alex looked at each other in confusion as the alien ship quickly detached from the station and moved away. Do you think we scared them? Alex asked. Jake watched the flower-shaped ship disappear into the darkness of space. I think we might have just become the galaxy's most feared species by accident. Emma joined them at the window, still holding her coffee mug. Well, that was weird. Do you think they'll come back? I hope so, Jake said. But something tells me the next conversation is going to be very different. Far away, aboard the Zenithian ship, Commander Zixithera was already sending an urgent message to the Galactic Federation about the terrifying Deathworld species they had just encountered. 3 weeks after the first contact incident, Dr. Kevin Brooks sat in the strangest room he had ever seen. The Galactic Federation headquarters looked like the inside of a giant seashell, with curved walls that glowed soft colors. Around a circular table sat creatures that looked like they came from different nightmares and dreams. Kevin was a marine biologist from California who had been chosen to represent Earth. Next to him sat Ambassador Lisa Taylor, a former diplomat, who spoke 7 Earth languages. She looked as nervous as Kevin felt. The emergency session will now begin, announced Council Prime Veltarin. The creature looked like a giant octopus made of blue crystal. Its voice came from speakers built into the table. We are here to discuss the threat level of the species called humans from the planet Earth. Kevin raised his hand. Excuse me, but we're not a threat to anyone. We just want to be friends and learn about other worlds. A ripple of fear moved through the assembled aliens. Several of them moved their chairs back from the table. Researcher Clixandra, who looked like a walking pile of silver rocks, spoke up. The evidence suggests otherwise. Our initial contact team reported that your species consumes deadly toxins for pleasure and engages in combat training for entertainment. That's just coffee and exercise, Lisa said patiently. Coffee is a drink made from beans. It tastes good and helps us stay awake. Exercise keeps our bodies healthy. Your coffee contains enough stimulants to kill 3 Rigelian whale beasts, Clixandra replied, reading from a glowing tablet. And your exercise involves lifting objects weighing hundreds of pounds repeatedly. Kevin tried to explain. We need to stay strong because our planet has gravity. If we don't exercise, our muscles get weak. It's not training for war. General Herthak, a creature that looked like an armored lizard the size of a bear, leaned forward. Tell us about your young. How do you train your offspring for survival? Our children? Kevin smiled, thinking of his nephew. They play games, go to school, learn to read and write. Normal kid stuff. What games? The general asked suspiciously. Kevin thought for a moment. Well, they play tag, where they chase each other around. They play ball games where they throw or kick balls to each other. Some kids like dodgeball, where they try to hit each other with softballs. The room erupted in frightened chatter. Several aliens were speaking rapidly into communication devices. Your children practice hunting and projectile combat from an early age, General Herthak said, his voice shaking. And you mentioned they strike each other with weapons. No, Lisa said quickly. The balls are soft. It's just for fun. No one gets hurt. Well, sometimes someone gets a bruise, but that heals in a few days. An alien that looked like a floating jellyfish suddenly collapsed to the floor. Two other creatures rushed to help it while making worried beeping sounds. Council Prime Veltaran's crystal body flashed red. Dr. Brooks, please explain why your species allows its young to suffer injuries that require healing time. Kevin was getting frustrated. Because that's how kids learn to be careful. A small bruise from a game teaches them to pay attention. It's not serious. You deliberately expose your offspring to pain as a learning method, researcher Clixandra recorded on her tablet. This confirms advanced warrior conditioning from birth. What about your bonding practices with other species? Asked Veltaran. Our reports indicate you keep predators in your homes. Oh, you mean pets, Lisa said happily. Yes, many humans have dogs and cats. They're wonderful companions. Dogs are descended from pack hunters called wolves, General Herthak said, checking his own tablet. Cats are solitary predators with retractable claws and sharp teeth. You cohabitate with carnivores. They're not dangerous, Kevin explained. We've bred them to be friendly. Dogs protect our homes and families. Cats catch mice and rats. They're our friends. You have domesticated apex predators to serve as guards and assassins, Clixandra noted. Kevin put his head in his hands. This was going very badly. An alien that looked like a blue tree with eyes spoke for the first time. What about your exposure to your star's radiation? Our scans show humans deliberately seek out harmful rays. You mean sunbathing? Lisa asked. People like to sit in the sun because it feels good and gives us vitamin D. Some people try to get a tan because they think it looks nice. You expose yourselves to cancer-causing radiation for cosmetic purposes, the tree creature said faintly. We use sunscreen to protect ourselves, Kevin said, and we don't stay out too long. But some of your species do this for hours at a time, General Herthak said. Our observations show humans lying motionless under direct stellar radiation, apparently unconscious but still breathing. That's just relaxing, Lisa said. People take naps on the beach. It's peaceful. The floating jellyfish, alien had recovered and returned to its seat. We must also discuss your consumption of capsaicin compounds. Capsaicin? Kevin asked. Spicy food, Lisa whispered to him. Oh, right, Kevin said. Some people like spicy food. It adds flavor. Capsaicin is a chemical weapon developed by plants. To prevent consumption, researcher Clixandra explained. It causes pain receptors to activate, warning of tissue damage. Your species consumes it voluntarily and claims to enjoy the pain sensation. It doesn't really hurt, Kevin said weakly. It just makes your mouth feel warm. Our medical data shows capsaicin consumption causes humans to sweat, increase heart rate, and sometimes weep, General Herthak said. These are clear distress signals, yet humans seek out stronger and stronger concentrations. Ambassador Taylor tried a different approach. Look, I understand this seems strange to you, but humans aren't warriors. Most of us work peaceful jobs. We have artists, teachers, farmers, musicians. We create beautiful things and help each other, while consuming toxins and training for combat, Veltaran pointed out. And keeping predators as companions, added Clixandra. And deliberately exposing ourselves to radiation, the tree creature said sadly. Don't forget the projectile training for younglings, General Herthak added. Kevin looked around the room at all the frightened alien faces. We're really not dangerous. We just want to explore space and meet new friends. That's exactly what a perfectly evolved predator species would say, researcher Clixandra replied. Your kind words are clearly designed to lower our defenses before you strike. Council Prime Velteron's body flashed through several colors before settling on a deep purple. I call for a vote on threat classification. All in favor of classifying Earth as a Class 12 death world, the highest danger rating possible? Kevin watched in horror as every alien in the room raised appendages, tentacles, or branches in agreement. Motion carried, Velteron announced. Earth is hereby classified as the most dangerous inhabited world in known galactic space. All contact is suspended until further notice. As the aliens filed out of the room, Kevin heard one of them say, How did such a terrifying species develop? Art and music? They must use it to lure prey. Lisa patted Kevin's shoulder. Well, that could have gone better. Kevin nodded glumly. I think we just became the galaxy's boogeyman by accident. Outside the chamber, emergency broadcasts were already being sent to every world in the Federation, warning them about the horrifying Death World species that had just been discovered. Observer Unit Krexnol floated silently above the human settlement, its crystalline body invisible to the creatures below. The Galactic Federation had sent covert observation teams to study the deadly Death World species called humans. Krexnol's job was to document how these terrifying beings survived on their hostile planet. What Krexnol had seen in the past week defied all known biological laws. Dr. Amy Johnson walked across the university campus, carrying a heavy bag of books. She moved easily despite the crushing gravity that would flatten most galactic species. Krexnol recorded her movements, noting how she barely seemed to notice the dangerous solar radiation beating down on her exposed skin. The subject appears, unaffected by stellar radiation levels that would kill a Centaurian in minutes, Krexnol reported to the observation ship. She has been exposed for 47 minutes without protective equipment. Amy sat down on a bench and opened a bottle of water. She drank deeply, not knowing that Krexnol was analyzing the liquid and finding trace amounts of chlorine, fluoride, and dozens of other chemicals that were toxic to most life forms. The subject is consuming a chemical mixture that contains multiple poisons, Krexnol continued. She shows no signs of distress. Tim Collins jogged past Amy's bench, sweat dripping from his face. He had been running for 30 minutes in the dangerous heat. His heart was beating fast, his breathing was heavy, and his body temperature was rising. To Krexnol, it looked like Tim was dying slowly. Another subject appears to be in severe physiological distress, Krexnol reported urgently. Heart rate elevated to dangerous levels. Body losing fluid rapidly, yet the subject continues voluntary movement. Tim smiled and waved at Amy as he jogged past. Amy waved back cheerfully. Both subjects appear calm, despite one being an obvious medical crisis, Krexnol noted with confusion. Across town, Dr. Nina Rodriguez was starting her shift at the hospital emergency room. She had slept only 4 hours the night before and had consumed 3 cups of the deadly stimulant called coffee. According to Galactic Federation medical standards, she should be unconscious or dead. Instead, she was treating patients with steady hands and clear thinking. The medical specialist shows no impairment despite consuming fatal levels of stimulants and operating with severe sleep deprivation, Krexnol observed through the hospital windows. This should be impossible. Agent Kyle Murphy was having what humans called a bad day. That morning he had fallen off his bicycle and scraped his knee badly. Blood had run down his leg and the wound looked painful. Any reasonable creature would have sought immediate medical attention and rest. Instead, Kyle had cleaned the wound with burning alcohol, covered it with a small bandage, and continued with his day. By afternoon, he was playing soccer with his friends, running and jumping as if nothing had happened. Krexnol watched in amazement as Kyle collided with another player during the game. Both humans fell hard to the ground. Kyle's bandage came loose and his wound started bleeding again. Critical injury to subject Kyle Murphy, Crexnall reported. Open wound, blood loss, physical trauma from collision. Kyle got up, laughed, and helped the other player to his feet. They patted each other on the back and continued playing. Both subjects are exhibiting impossible recovery rates, Crexnall said, its crystal body flashing with confusion. They appear to be healing while continuing physical activity. At the local elementary school, Crexnall observed human children during what they called recess. 25 small humans ran around a playground, climbing on metal structures that were 3 times their height, swinging on ropes and chasing each other at high speeds. The juvenile humans are engaging in extremely dangerous activities, Crexnall reported. They are climbing to heights that would result in serious injury, if they fell. Adult humans are present but not intervening. One child did fall from the climbing structure, landing hard on a soft surface made of rubber pieces. She cried for a moment, then got up and climbed again. Juvenile suffered impact trauma, but resumed dangerous activity immediately, Crexnall noted. Adult humans showed concern but did not remove child from hazardous area. The teacher, Mrs. Patterson, walked over to check on the child who had fallen. She looked at the girl's scraped elbow, cleaned it with a wet cloth, and put a colorful bandage on it. "There you go, sweetie," Mrs. Patterson said. "Be a little more careful next time." The child nodded and ran back to the playground equipment. Adult. Human administered minimal medical care and encouraged juvenile to continue hazardous activities, Crexnall recorded in disbelief. That evening, Crexnall observed a human family having dinner. The parents, Bob and Carol Miller, were feeding their 3 children food that contained deadly spices, processed chemicals, and preservatives. The children ate happily, asking for second helpings. The adults are poisoning their own offspring, Crexnall reported. The juveniles appear to enjoy consuming the toxic substances. 8-year-old Danny Miller asked for extra hot sauce on his tacos. His father smiled and added more of the burning liquid. Danny ate it with obvious pleasure while his mouth turned red and his eyes watered. The juvenile is experiencing clear, distress signals from the poison but continues consuming it voluntarily, Crexnall said. The parents are encouraging this behavior. After dinner, the family went outside to play in their backyard. The yard was full of what humans called dirt, which Crexnall knew contained billions of bacteria, viruses, and other microscopic life forms. The children rolled around in this contaminated soil, laughing and getting it all over their bodies. The juveniles are exposing themselves to countless pathogens, Crexnall reported frantically. They are covering their skin and breathing in dangerous microorganisms. Later, the children went inside and washed their hands with soap and water. Within minutes, they were perfectly clean and showed no signs of infection. Impossible resistance to biological contamination, Crexnall noted. Their immune systems appear to neutralize threats that would kill most galactic species. As the day ended, Crexnall compiled its report for the Federation Command. Every observation had revealed more impossible truths about human biology. Humans could function with minimal sleep, consume multiple toxins daily, recover from injuries that would cripple other species, operate in temperature ranges that would kill most life forms, and resist diseases that would devastate entire planets. Conclusion, Crexnall reported, humans are not simply a warrior species. They are biologically impossible. Their survival capabilities exceed all known parameters for carbon-based life. Recommend extreme caution in any future contact. Back on the observation ship, Commander Thralvex read Crexnall's report with growing horror. If these creatures ever decided to leave their Deathworld, nothing in the galaxy could stop them. Send this data to Federation headquarters immediately, Thralvex ordered. Mark it as Priority Alpha. The galaxy needs to know what we're dealing with. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Miller family was settling in for the night. Bob tucked his children into bed, read them a story about friendly aliens from space, and kissed them goodnight. None of them knew that somewhere above their house, alien observers were documenting their every move and classifying them as the most dangerous species in the known galaxy. Supreme Commander Throckval stood in the war room of the Galactic Federation's military headquarters, staring at holographic displays showing human capabilities. As the leader of all Federation forces, he had seen many dangerous species across the galaxy, but nothing had prepared him for the data about humans. "Show me the physical analysis again," Throckval ordered his aide. The hologram displayed a human figure with measurements scrolling beside it. Average human bone density is 3 times galactic standard. Muscle fiber strength exceeds warrior species like the Krellian Battleborn. Heart efficiency rating surpasses our enhanced soldier programs. Cultural analyst Myrthine, a gentle creature that looked like a walking flower, entered the war room carrying data tablets. Her species could sense emotions from other beings, which made her valuable for understanding alien psychology. "Commander, I have completed my analysis of human emotional patterns," Myrthine said softly. "The results are confusing." "Explain," Throckval commanded. "Humans show the same stress responses as our elite warriors during combat, but they exhibit these patterns while performing normal daily activities," Myrthine reported. "They experience adrenaline surges while sitting in vehicles moving at high speeds, yet they call this commuting to work." On Earth, Colonel Sam Mitchell was working in his garden behind his small house in Colorado. He had retired from the military 2 years ago, and now spent his days growing vegetables and reading books. He looked like any other grandfather, humming quietly as he pulled weeds. The Federation observers watching him had no idea he was a former Special Forces soldier. To them, he appeared to be an ordinary human citizen, demonstrating impossible capabilities. Sam picked up a 50-pound bag of soil and carried it across his yard without effort. He worked for 3 hours in the hot sun without rest, showing no signs of fatigue. When a neighbor's dog got loose and ran toward him aggressively, Sam calmly stood his ground and spoke gently to the animal until it calmed down. "The subject shows advanced tactical awareness and threat assessment," reported Observer Unit Claxmore. "He neutralized a potential predator attack using psychological warfare techniques." Sam scratched the friendly dog behind its ears and gave it a treat from his pocket. Captain Jenny Pierce was having a much more exciting day. She was a test pilot for the Air Force, flying experimental aircraft at speeds that would terrify most galactic species. Today she was testing a new fighter jet over the Nevada desert. Jenny pulled her aircraft into a vertical climb, then rolled it upside down while traveling faster than sound. The G-forces pressed against her body with crushing weight. Any other species would have lost consciousness or died. Jenny was listening to country music on her headset and thinking about the apple pie she planned to bake that evening. Subject demonstrates impossible tolerance for acceleration stress, Observer Vextalon reported from a cloaked ship nearby. She maintains consciousness and control while experiencing forces that would kill our best pilots. Jenny completed her test flight and landed safely. She climbed out of the cockpit, pulled off her helmet, and shook out her long hair. She was smiling. "Flight test successful," she reported to the ground crew. "The new engine performed beautifully. I'm recommending we move to the next phase of testing." "How did the G-forces feel today, Captain?" asked a technician. "A little rough on the spine turns, but not too bad," Jenny replied casually. "Tomorrow, I want to try pushing it to Mach 3.2 and see how she handles." The alien observers were stunned. Jenny spoke about forces that could crush a battleship as if they were minor inconveniences. Across the country in Detroit, mechanic Tony Garcia was working on a broken truck engine. Tony had never been in the military and had no combat training. He was just a regular guy who fixed vehicles for a living. But to the alien observers, Tony appeared to be some kind of technical specialist with superhuman abilities. Tony lifted the heavy engine block out of the truck using only basic tools and his own strength. He worked in a shop filled with toxic fumes from oil, gasoline, and metal grinding. The noise levels would damage the hearing of most galactic species permanently. Tony worked in this environment for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and had been doing so for 15 years. He was perfectly healthy and happy. The subject operates in a chemically hazardous environment with dangerous noise levels, Observer Nixville reported. He shows no protective equipment beyond basic eye coverings, yet suffers no apparent harm. Tony was humming along to rock music playing from a radio while he rebuilt the engine's transmission. Occasionally, He would pause to drink coffee or eat a sandwich his wife had packed for lunch. He consumes the stimulant toxin even while performing precision mechanical work, Nixvell noted. His hands remain steady despite the drug's effects. Back at Federation headquarters, Myrthine presented her most disturbing findings to Commander Throckval. "Sir, I have discovered something that challenges our entire understanding of the human species," she said nervously. "What is it?" Throckval asked. "The humans we have been observing are not warriors. They are ordinary citizens living peaceful." Throckval's armored face showed confusion. "That cannot be correct. The capabilities we have documented exceed our most elite soldiers. Colonel Mitchell grows vegetables for pleasure. Captain Pierce chose her dangerous profession voluntarily, not because she was bred for war. Mechanic Garcia repairs vehicles to help his community. None of them were forced into their roles." "You mean they have these abilities naturally?" Throckval asked in disbelief. "Yes, sir, and there is more. I have detected strong emotional patterns indicating that humans form deep attachments to family members, create art for beauty rather than warfare, and help strangers without expecting reward." Throckval sat down heavily in his command chair, a species with the physical capabilities of super soldiers, but the social behaviors of peaceful civilians. "It appears so, sir. They do not see danger as something to survive, but as something to overcome and learn from. They voluntarily seek challenges that would terrify our warriors. Yet they do this while maintaining loving families and creative pursuits." Commander Throckval looked at the data displays around him. Every measurement showed humans as the most capable fighters the galaxy had ever encountered. But Myrthine's emotional analysis suggested they were also among the most peaceful. "This makes no sense," Throckval said. "How does a species develop warrior capabilities without warrior culture?" "Perhaps," Myrthine suggested quietly, "they did not develop these traits for war at all. Perhaps they developed them for something else, entirely." Throckval stared at the holographic image of Colonel Mitchell watering his tomato plants. "What could be more important than survival?" "I do not know, sir, but I believe the answer to that question will change how we understand life itself." Far below on Earth, Tony Garcia finished rebuilding the truck engine and started it up. It ran perfectly. He smiled with satisfaction, wiped his hands on a rag, and called his wife to tell her he would be home in time for dinner. He had no idea that his simple joy in fixing things was confusing the greatest military minds in the galaxy. 6 months had passed since first contact, and Ambassador Ryan Cooper stood in Earth's new Galactic Federation embassy. The building was strange, designed to accommodate many different alien species. Some areas had water for aquatic beings, others had different gravity levels, and the air mixture could be adjusted for various breathing needs. Ryan was preparing for the most important meeting in human history. After months of fear and misunderstanding, the Federation had agreed to give Earth one final chance to explain itself. Cultural Exchange Director Maria Santos walked into Ryan's office carrying a stack of folders. She had spent weeks preparing presentations about human culture, hoping to help the aliens understand what humans were really like. "The Federation delegates are arriving," Maria said. "Are you ready for this?" Ryan straightened his tie and nodded, as ready as anyone can be to explain why we're not actually monsters. In the main conference room, delegates from dozens of alien species were taking their seats. Many wore protective suits or stayed inside sealed containers, still afraid of humans despite months of peaceful contact. Commander Zix Thera was there, the same Zenithian who had fled from the space station after the coffee incident. Cultural analyst Myrthine sat nearby, her flower-like form glowing softly with curiosity rather than fear. Dr. Pete Williams, Earth's expert in alien psychology, entered the room with 16-year-old Danny Foster. Danny was a typical teenager who had volunteered to help with the cultural exchange program. He looked nervous but excited. "Thank you all for coming," Ryan began. "I know many of you are still afraid of humans. I hope today we can change that." "Ambassador Cooper," Commander Zixathera spoke up, "our observations have shown that humans possess capabilities that exceed our most dangerous warrior species, yet you claim to be peaceful. How do we reconcile this contradiction?" Ryan smiled. That's exactly what we want to explain. Danny, would you tell our guests about your plans for the future? Danny stepped forward, looking shy but determined. Well, I want to study space biology when I go to college. I hope someday I can visit other planets and learn about alien life forms. I think it would be amazing to see how life developed differently on other worlds. The alien delegates exchanged glances. This young human wanted to travel to alien worlds, not to conquer them, but to learn. Danny also has some hobbies, Maria added. Tell them about rock climbing. Oh yeah, Danny said, his face lighting up. I love rock climbing. There's this cliff near my house that's really challenging. It took me 6 months to figure out how to climb it safely. When I finally made it to the top, the view was incredible. Observer. Unit Krexnall, who had been watching humans for months, spoke up. You deliberately put yourself in mortal danger for a view? Well, it wasn't really dangerous once I learned the proper techniques, Danny explained. And it wasn't just about the view. It was about proving to myself that I could do it. Humans like challenges because overcoming them makes us feel proud and confident. Myrthine's form glowed brighter. You seek challenges not for survival, but for personal growth? Exactly, Dr. Williams said. That's the key to understanding humans. We didn't develop our physical and mental capabilities because our world was trying to kill us. We developed them because our world offered us so many opportunities to grow and improve. Ryan activated a holographic display showing Earth's diverse environments. Our planet has mountains to climb, oceans to explore, deserts to cross, and forests to study. Instead of just surviving in these places, humans learned to thrive in them. We started climbing mountains not because we had to, but because they were there, Maria explained. We learned to swim not just to avoid drowning, but because we enjoyed being in the water. We developed tools not just to survive, but to create beautiful things. Commander Zixthara's skin color shifted from dark purple to light blue, indicating confusion rather than fear. So, your physical capabilities are not for warfare? Think of it this way, Ryan said. A warrior species develops strength to defeat enemies. Humans develop strength to hug our children, build homes for our families, and create art that lasts for centuries. Danny raised his hand shyly. Can I add something? Of course, Ryan said. My grandmother is 87 years old, and she still goes hiking every weekend, not because she has to, but because she loves being outdoors. She says the mountains make her feel young again. That's what humans do. We keep challenging ourselves our whole lives because it makes us happy. The room fell silent. The concept of seeking challenges for happiness rather than survival was completely foreign to most species. Federation delegate Zarthix, a being that looked like a walking tree, spoke for the first time. In our observations, we noted that humans consume the burning plant compound called capsaicin voluntarily. We assumed this was warrior conditioning. Maria laughed. No, we just think spicy food tastes good. The burn is exciting and it makes other flavors more interesting. We're not training for pain. We're exploring taste. And the exercise we observed? Asked General Herthak. We exercise because it feels good to be strong and healthy, Dr. Williams explained. Humans who exercise regularly live longer, happier lives. It's not combat training, it's life enhancement. What about keeping predators as companions? Commander Zixthara asked. Danny grinned. You mean pets? My dog Max is my best friend. He's not a weapon. He's family. When I'm sad, he sits with me. When I'm happy, he gets excited too. Humans and dogs have been friends for thousands of years. Myrthine's emotional sensors were picking up something she had never encountered before. I am detecting unusual emotional patterns from the humans. There is strength, but also joy, wonder, love. That's right, Ryan said. Humans are strong not because we're warriors, but because strength helps us protect what we love and reach what we dream of achieving. So you climb dangerous mountains for beauty? Krexnall asked. We drink stimulants for pleasure? Added Zarthix. We play with our children to teach them joy? Asked Zixthera. Yes, Ryan said simply. Humans see life not as something to merely survive, but as an adventure to be lived fully. Supreme Commander Throckval, who had been silent throughout the meeting, finally spoke. I believe I understand now. You are not a death world species. You are a growth world species. A growth world? Maria asked. A planet so rich with opportunities that its inhabitants evolved not just to survive, but to flourish, Throckval explained. You developed incredible capabilities not to escape your world but to explore every corner of it. Danny nodded enthusiastically. That's exactly right. And now we want to explore the rest of the galaxy too, not to conquer it, but to learn from it and maybe make some friends. The delegates looked around at each other, and slowly the fear began to leave their faces. I move to reclassify Earth, announced Council Prime Velteron, who had joined the meeting via hologram. Earth is not a death world. It is the galaxy's first confirmed growth world. The humans are not a threat. They are an opportunity for all of us to learn what life can become when it is lived not just for survival, but for joy. The vote was unanimous. As the aliens filed out of the room, many stopped to speak with Danny, asking him about his rock climbing and his dreams of space exploration. The fear was gone, replaced by curiosity and excitement. Ryan watched Danny explaining to Commander Zixthera how rock climbing builds trust between climbing partners, and he smiled. Humans had finally found their place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or warriors, but as explorers and friends. The galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place.